Hey, good morning. Good morning, good morning. We got some fairly interesting looking charts this morning. Hey, X, good stuff. Hey, good morning to you. Letting some people flow in here and then we're going to get going. I don't want to wait too long because I want to be able to explain some things, and we've actually got some templates that may be showing up. Either for today or maybe going into the rest of the week. Uh-oh, is my song running out? I think it is. Nope. All right, we're going to get going. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're doing well. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education, informational purposes only, without any expression or implied word of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Cool, we got this out of the way. It's also down there at the bottom. This is not financial advice. We need to go over the news. All right, I want to show you all the news schedule for today. And for the week in general, right? We've had some news yesterday, 10 o'clock. We had Powell speaking, which affected the market pretty decent. You know, it created some volatility. And today's the 2nd. Today's July 2nd. We're into a new month. So we're into a new monthly template, and those previous month's levels could come into effect. You know, we could be drawing towards the high or towards the low. Today we've got non-farm employment change. That was at 8:15, so we'll probably see a little bit of that in the charts, and we'll see if that, you know, created a structural break, failed breakout. How are things looking coming into the New York Open? We've got about 15 minutes until that happens. So let's get rid of this. And I'm on a 15-minute chart taking a look at the NASDAQ now. Make sure this gets up there. Can you all hear me okay? Can you see me okay? Is anything seem weird? Am I talking loud enough? I know we've had some volume issues these past couple of days. All right, I'm not seeing any complaints. We're going to get going. All right, NASDAQ. We've been going up. Real important stuff, you know, just the fact that we've been going higher. The market's been breaking out for multiple days in a bit of an extended run. Could be as far as thought process goes, does that mean that it's just going to continue to go up all the time? No. Does it mean that there could be a short template that I could look for? Yes. However, with this in mind that this is an extended run, which can be kind of the proof of a move, you know, it could be a strong up moving market. I want to be aware of the fact that we could be breaking out, we could be pulling back, and eventually be going to continue the trend, but I'm not going to think too much into that, okay? Really what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to look at the past couple of days, and I'm going to determine what sort of setup should I be looking for today. So I'm going to delete all of this. You all have hopefully been with me for the last few days, but we've been going up for 3 days, at least. And then yesterday we broke down, we triggered the previous day's low, which could be a lower low in the market, right? This was also breakout day 1 to the downside. So I'm going to project that level across, as always. All right, and then I'm going to look and see what kind of day, how did yesterday close? We closed in breakout, which I just said, but also this was a first red day. All right, we've had multiple days of pump, lots of days of pump. And then we have a potentially broken down market the first day of down close. Does that mean it's going down today? No. Does that mean it gives me something to look for? Yes, absolutely. So take a look at today. Where do I like to take these trades from? So if I couldn't see anything that's happened today at all, the day had just opened, where do I like to execute these trades from? 3 levels of rise coming off of previous day's low. You could take it from the breakout level. Okay, high of current day. If it were to have triggered the previous day's low and popped up and rolled over, if it broke out of the previous day's low and pulled back and rolled over, those are the areas of the chart that I'm looking to execute from. Not in the middle of the range, not in the middle of the day's range or anything like that. Usually going to be one of those scenarios. So that being said, the trade looks like it actually already came off of the high of the day. All right, in London, we had the run to the high, to the breakout level. We got 3 peaks, 1, 2, 3, breaks down. Looks like second hour London session. And then targets wise, previous day's low, low of day. So we're coming off of a previous or a high of day sell. We're now back down at the low of the day. We've triggered the previous day's low and popped it back up. So what does this tell me? Number one, triggering of the previous day's low could do something similar to like yesterday. Okay, so that's what I'm going to personally be looking for. I'm going to look for, we've triggered the previous day's low. Are we going to pop it back up, go sideways, and then roll over? Or is this now, we've triggered the low, we're at the low of the week. Are we going to reverse back towards the high? I'm not going to look for the reversal back towards the high necessarily. I think it would have to set up extremely well for that, for me to actually level to level. I guess I think that's you're targeting levels. You're going from one. If it goes from the high of the day, usually the first target is low of day, and then the second target is previous day's low. But yeah. Anyway, so what I was saying is, we've created a low and a high. We're still making lower lows and lower highs. So I'm going to stick with that. Let's see, Paulo, your breakout level is also the week open. So I think if you're asking would a higher high invalidate. So right now, looking at structure on the day, we've got lower lows and lower highs. If they broke this and made a higher high, it really is going to depend on timing. But yes, typically, if I'm looking for a short, I would like to see this continue making lower lows and lower highs. So if it pops back up and rolls over, basically I'd be trading the pullback. But yeah, if I see a higher high, that's probably going to invalidate. Okay. Really taking into consideration, I wish I would have came to the chart and we were still up here. Because this would have allowed me to probably have a little bit better of a thesis, a little bit higher probability, I think, of success. Whereas right now, it's going to be more of a low-hanging fruit back down to the low of the day. But anyways, let's go on to US 30, which I think is a different sight picture. It looks very different. So we still do have 3 days of breakouts, which is great. All right, we've been going up for 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 days going in one direction. And we've had a bit of a blow-off move. We're far into a trend, and we have a vertical parabolic explosion. They've triggered previous day's high today, so really the most important things that I need to highlight on today is if I have 3 days of breakouts, what am I looking for? What am I actually searching for? So I would say, where is the front side of a move? I might even be willing to do like this. Yeah, I think we're going to go like this. All right, so has the front side of a move been broken? No. Does that mean I can't take this? No. However, what I absolutely do need to see is a lower low be put in place. So I would need to see a series of higher highs, which we had a higher high here, and a pullback, and a higher high here. And then the market has gone and made a lower low. Okay, so that's your break-in structure. From that, I would look for 3 pushes to go back up. So there's our fairly clean 3 pushes or 3 levels. There's your engulfment. All right, we didn't get an engulfment until here, so I wouldn't even be able to tell you where 3 pushes was until that bar closed. So now looking at this, you would say, okay, well, maybe there's push 1 and 2 and then 3, your engulfment, and then your bar that completes the pattern. So now we have traps above push 2 and possibly even push 1. That bar locked in all of this up top. So the reason I even say all of this is because where would I have liked to get in? The market, when it breaks down, it'll go sideways. I usually will get in after this sideways maneuver. I might start adding positions here, but a lot of times I'll wait until this sideways behavior starts. So where does that lead us now? Well, the market's making lower lows and lower highs. We've broken out of the low of the day. Okay, this was the low of the day prior to the session beginning. We're still making lower lows and lower highs on the day, right? So I'm going to watch for a pop-up and maybe look for an expansion of the low of the day, but maybe not. Okay, I think the NASDAQ may be better suited just because it's already in breakout to the downside. Maybe a little bit higher probability. So I'll be watching both, but I think NASDAQ is probably suited a little bit better. Okay, 15-minute chart. I'm on gold now. Past couple of days, we've been going down. Right, market go down. We're at a bit of a pivot now, where we've had a breakout that has failed to go lower. Large dumping day, right? Large dumping day, day that closed in breakout, a day that has failed to close lower, and then closed above the open and the close for the day. Previous day, right? Closed from the previous day. So this would be your first green. Day 1 of the 3-day cycle. Day 1 breakouts to the upside from yesterday. Whenever I have a day that closes in breakout, I always project that across. So what does that lead us for today? You know, what do I actually need to go off of? I've got levels. I've got the high of the current week, which is the high of Tuesday. And I've got my breakout level. And I have the idea that the market only does 3 things. Okay, so where we're at in the range, we're kind of in the middle, will make it probably a little bit difficult, number 1. Number 2, we have not triggered previous day's high, so I'm trading from the inside. That makes it a little bit difficult, okay? So I would have really preferred to have seen this having been broken. But thought process-wise, the only 3 things that markets do is breakout, pullback, and trend, breakout, fail to go higher and reverse, or breakout, fail to go higher and reverse, something like that. So none of those things is really happening, unfortunately. So I may have to sit out gold and put that one on the sidelines for today. Okay. Maybe we have a 3-day template showing up for later in the week. Also, if I was looking at opening range breakout trade setups, so for example, like the NASDAQ, right? Tuesday broke outside of Friday or out of Monday's low. So this is an opening range breakout, pullback, continuation, trade setup. We could be looking at that here on gold. We'll just have to see. All right, hopefully this is helping. Hopefully this is making sense. All right, we're going to take a look at the Russell. Here's some of my notes from previous days, from yesterday and from the beginning of this week and the end of last week. Looks like we had a breakout day on Thursday. A first red day, really, either Friday or Monday. This was also an inside bar. And instead of going down the following day, we have a explosive expansion to go higher. We had an opening range breakout going up. Okay, so from this, market's been going up. Okay, it looks like we have triggered the previous day's low here. So I'm going to remove some of this stuff. We've gone back to the high. We've triggered the low, and we've gone back to the high. So is this going to turn into a 3-day setup? I have no idea. But it's definitely something to be looking for in the future because we have the lower low, the inside bar, lower low. We break out. Is the high going to succeed or is it going to fail? Maybe nothing for today, But later this week, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe we're looking at something. So let's see. What am I looking at? I think that's all I can really do. Exactly the same. Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's take a look at oil. Have we made it out of the box yet on oil? We have not closed outside of the box yet. We're just back up at the high of the box. So that makes things easy. I don't have to look at oil today. We're just back up at the high now. We're still on the inside of my my trash zone. We're still at the landfill on oil. Okay, so 9:32. I went a little bit long. Talked a little too much. Okay, NQ. Looking at the 15-minute chart, we do have a bar we're breaking out now to the upside on NQ. This bar's closed higher and this bar's high. We're pumping it back up now. Interesting. Let's see here. Looking like the US 30, we're breaking down below that end of day consolidation level from yesterday. But overall, the front side of a move still has not been broken. Okay, gold. I think I had minimal interest in gold. And oil is in the dump. Oil is in the dump. So I need to just watch. I think I just need to watch my indexes, because those are the only two that I really have a viable trading opportunity or setup that makes any sense. Everything else doesn't really make any sense. So I think that watching indexes today is my best option. Again, it's an opening range breakout setup if it presents. If it doesn't present, the reason is because this is probably going to turn into a breakout that has failed at the low of the week. And maybe we're going back towards the high of the week, which will be indicated, you know, by signal days and things like that. And we might be looking at a back half of the week setup. Do you find... I try not to think about that, Paulie. I would say that, you know, like the only time of year that I think I really consciously pay attention and focus on, like, making sure I stay out of the chop. I mean, that's year round, but it's going to be like December, January. December is the closing, basically like the closing range for the entire year. January is going to be the opening range for the entire year. So you might see volatility start to pick up, you know, February, March, because we're breaking out or failing to break out, maybe retesting the other side come February, March. I don't remember which one I have for TradingView. See, this looks really good, but it makes me feel, because it's coming at the end of this move here, and it's right here at the open. I'm not saying that it's not going to follow through. You know, we might be seeing, maybe we're going back for the breakout traders. But I have to be careful because I would be shorting into an up-moving market. Front side of the move has not been broken. And, you know, this could be an explosive last leg of the move convincing me to try and get in. I need to be careful. I'd be shorting at the low of the day, which is fine if it's a low of day breakout, and we could be looking at an expansion of the entire day's range, but again, we're in an up-moving market, so I have to be very careful. I think I'd really like to see, you know, this is the opening range for the session, first 5 minutes, first 15. I wouldn't mind seeing how the next bar or two forms. I need to do something about my mic. Is anybody else having audio issues? Please yell at me now. If it sounds like crap, please tell me. Your mic is good. Is it? Okay. Hear you fine. Crystal clear. All right, Carlo, I hate to tell you. Volume is low. Is anyone else's volume low? Maybe I need to pull this thing a little bit closer to my face, but it's already pretty close. Okay, US 30s. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. I did have the Russell up, didn't I, at one point? This one had tapped into previous day's high, which is nice. Day one, they've gone back to the high. Yesterday closed in breakout. Yeah, Carl, I think maybe I'd turn off some of the noise cancellation on my mic. That might be the solution. Because it's about 6 inches from my face. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to talk louder. But I think I speak fairly loud naturally. But I could be wrong. All right, US 30, we came down. Big bar down. And then we have this one at one time was all the way down here. We were watching it. It's like, oh my gosh, US 30 is going, it's tanking. He wants you to go DI mode. Yeah, I'm never doing that again. I like to whisper as often as I can. I never want to raise my voice again. Protect them vocals. Yeah, I don't know how much more protecting I can do. What do you call it? Your bronchial tube or whatever. I tore that. But at least I didn't tear my, vocal cords or whatever. Tore my bronchial tube, but not my vocal cords. So I guess we're doing okay. Yeah, I've got it's a Beacon, Beacn. I have a Beacon mic, and I also have the little mix box create thing. Seems like the software glitches a lot. Like it randomly cuts out. The moment I go to use it, it's not working. Settings like change themselves all the time. I don't know. It's weird. But I think the sound quality is pretty good. Whenever it does work, the sound quality is not bad. And frankly, I'm not exactly technology advanced. It could just be operator error. Anyways, so I'm watching paint dry at this point. We had US 30 rip off the open straight down, which tells me that, it's saying that the market should go down. That's what this is telling me. This is a lot of momentum. This is a really big bar going down. We should keep going lower. So an immediate loss of momentum is strange, especially if we have an immediate loss of momentum and let's say that we break back up to the upside. Cam, go find a 12-year-old. Yeah, you ain't lying. These iPad kids, man, these iPad kids are going to school me in a few years, technology-wise. Okay, Russell. Same thing as the US 30. We've broken down. I think we've broken out of the low of the day. We're also at closing price. But again, we're in breakout going higher. So I think the other day you all saw me take a NASDAQ trade where we'd broken back below the breakout level. So we basically broke down and we were going lower. That's usually how I'm going to trade these whenever, if the breakout's going to fail, or I'll take it from up here to go back to the breakout level. But just resting on top of it, possibly not. So I'm going to sit. We're going to watch paint dry. And hopefully some decent bars start forming. Some thesis confirming price movement. How many of you have been in here every single day this week and last week, Friday? Anybody in here pretty much every day now? I'm hoping these streams are benefiting. And the more people we get in here, hopefully benefit the masses. Heck yeah. Ooh, NQ spiking a little bit. Oh, this is one. I've got another screen up. 1 minute chart. NQ just out of nowhere started spiking. Who was it earlier? They asked, hey, would you take this if it did something, structurally, if it broke? So we've made lower lows, and then now we're at closing price, which is great. But internally, internal to the previous day's range, remember I said, if I want to take a short, typically I want to see it at least in the correct structure, right? Objectively, I would like to have seen it break down, pull back, maybe consolidate, and then roll and squeeze to go lower and go vertical. This is a lot of strength. Okay, this is weird. So now what would need to happen? What would need to happen for me to actually execute this trade now? It would have to break all the way back down. It'd have to put in a low. It'd have to put in a high. And it would have to break back down. So this might be keeping me out of this trade. Let's see. I think 3 to 4 days you've been here. Okay, good. W pattern. What do you mean W? Beats. W where? You're probably talking about the NASDAQ, right? On the 1 minute. This is a W. Yeah. Yep. We got a down close bar indicating lower price. We're at closing price, and then they immediately lose momentum and go sideways. Down, up, down. So a bit of a shortened W, and then the run. Carlo, are you talking about on NASDAQ? So we might be able to consider this the triggering of the low as the lower low, and then we popped it back up. So maybe this is the third push to the high after making the lower low. And I'd probably be okay with taking that as my thesis. You know, they triggered the previous day's low. They've popped it back up in 3 pushes. If it breaks back down, maybe taking it down through previous day's low. Nielsen, Juhan. Yeah, I've been every single day. And I'm going to try and maintain that. I'm going to try and keep doing it every day. Like, it really doesn't, affect me or anything doing these, which is nice. And I get to come hang out with you all. Gives me something to look forward to every day. Joseph, good morning. All right, NQ pressing higher. We got that shortened. I'm looking at my 1 minute on the other screen. We've got you see the 3 legs chopping up higher. It looks pretty good, but they would have to break down very aggressively for me to believe that I'm correct. Okay, gold on the day, making higher highs and higher lows. I wonder if gold is going to break down. Now, gold could just turn into a narrow range day. Since we've kind of just been oscillating around the close here. Going to be very careful with this. What time frame your analysis start? I always kind of just look at the 15-minute chart. So Beats, here's the thing. I'm on the 15-minute chart, but I'm looking at previous day's levels. And I'm looking for 3-day or 4-day, basically 3 or 4 bar patterns, right? But those 3 or 4 bar patterns, like I could go to look at a daily chart. You could just look at a daily chart and find the signals and then trade it intraday. I don't do that. I just look at a 15-minute chart and look at previous day's levels and then, determine what I'm looking at. Time frame's a little irrelevant. Now, of course, if you're looking at a monthly chart, I think top-down analysis is too difficult to replicate over time. So when you start on the monthly and then you go down to the weekly, then you go down to the daily, then the 4-hour, then the 1 hour, then the 15, then doing that it's very difficult to replicate. But if you just look at daily levels every day and try to find these 3 and 4 bar patterns, then it's a little bit easier. Maybe not easier, but simpler. A lot more simple, in my opinion. Okay, US 30. I gotta tell you, it really makes me nervous to even think about taking a short on this thing because this just looks like it's going to trap at the low. 9:30 opening range for the session. First 5, first 15. Now we're just sitting on the inside of there for, quite a few bars. We'll see. Okay, gold just came down and made a lower low. So now we have a high in place. Now we have a low in place. Maybe something to watch. But from looking at gold, we've had multiple large range days in a row. A very large range breakout day. I wouldn't be surprised to see a narrow range day. So we've been oscillating around the previous day's close. I think I'd probably be very careful executing on this. We have not triggered a previous day's level. So there might be not as much volume or not as much institutional money involved on gold. I don't know for sure, but it's the thought process. Hey, it's the most viewers that we've had all week. We're up to almost 70. It's small victories, It's nice to have all 70 of you in here just watching paint dry with me. Hopefully we find another trade this week. Bitcoin's at previous day's high. Does anybody have any pairs they want me to look at since we're just sitting here doing nothing? You said Bitcoin. Let's go take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, last time I checked, was at like 110,000. Which is crazy. I never thought that it would get that high, if I'm being completely honest. Okay, so Bitcoin, it looks like it's been pulling back. We had breakout day 2 yesterday. And now we've made this incredible run from the low to trigger the previous day's high. They've made a higher high. Slammed back down and made a lower low. Traded back up into the high. Is the high going to fail? Is the high of the previous day going to fail? Geez, that bird just freaked me out. Got my window open. Any other pairs? Dollar Australian? Okay. I don't even think I have that one. You want a dollar Australian or Aussie dollar? Might be making a head and shoulders, but does it have a 3-day setup? But doesn't have a 3-day setup. USD Australian. Gotcha. I've never heard of this. I'm clicking it. Do I have a better one? Do I have one that I know? No. Okay, so let's just click it. Oh, I can see what you're saying. We get a little bit of a curl going. It's interesting. I would say that, if I was going to look at this, I'd probably wait for a 3-day setup. So wait for first green or something like that. Breakout day 1. We're about to have a new hour come in. We're about to start a new hour. So into the new hour, are we going to see continuations? Are we going to see reversals? Let's see. Johan said, my idea is short 6E. I think that's the Euro futures. If it breaks the current low at 10 a.m. My idea is short NQ at 10 a.m. Any news today? It was 8:15 Mustang. So we've seen a few different ideas. We will see. I got gold. I like gold. First green day, large pumping, goes into consolidation. Are we going back for the money? Because if it, we're in an up moving market, it could just keep going higher, but a lot of times they come back for the money first before they make those runs, which is also a 3-day template. Peak formation day, breakout, hive day, hive week. So we'll see. We got 55 seconds on this hourly bar. Maybe. Ooh, look at this. The bar closed just a little bit. It's almost equal. Very interesting. Would you say these moves are largely random or engineered? I don't have any proof. I don't have any evidence, but I would even go past there and say that I don't really care. It's more of, does the psychology of the chart, is the chart truly a reflection of human behavior? And I would argue and say yes. And I think that's probably wherever the movements come from, it really doesn't matter. It's, what's behind it. And that's the charts being a reflection of human behavior. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway. Just had lunch. Have you analyzed Australian US dollar? I don't think I actually went into it. I don't think I really looked at it much. Take a look at the Aussie dollar. We're into this new hour. We've been breaking price action wise. This is a very strong down move into a level with a strong reversal and a breakout. I was talking about this earlier when we were doing our analysis. So 1 bar range and a breakout. No higher high, but breakout, pin hammer, higher high. And the bars, they have little to no overlap, and they're pulling in one direction. Gotta be careful. Very careful. 3 days breakouts minimum. They've triggered the previous day's low. This could be decent. Okay. I would almost be willing to maybe wait. Maybe if today turns into breakout day one. However, if I was going to trade this, it would have to be based off of the 3-day setup, the 3-day opportunity. Breakout, attempt to go higher and fail, breakout. Either this is a pullback or the breakout of this high is failing over 3 days. Triggered previous day's low, so now we're making lower lows and lower highs. I would have to take this as, is this going to turn into a long squeeze? The bars are making lower highs. We've got a flat bottom. I would be looking for a parabolic squeeze, an explosion down. If that doesn't happen, I wouldn't be willing to do anything else. I would have to trade this with the belief that this is trap volume up high. I would just be looking for evidence of that. Pound dollar just dumped. How much? How much are we talking about? Oh, yeah. For a currency, that's pretty... Yeah, all that volume trapped up high. Oh, dang. Look at this. I don't really watch this pair that much, so it is what it is. But we talked about this on stream yesterday. 3-day setups. Monday, market go up. Where's Paulie at? Is Paulie in here? Yeah, he is. Market go up. Market trigger low. All right, day one. Market failed to go higher. So basically, we went back to the high. And remember, we try to go lower, it can't. The market will automatically some sort of retest of the high. It tried. It couldn't. We can't go higher. It doesn't have the juice. So then it rolls over. Okay, well, we can't go lower. We can't go higher. Higher was the last thing tried, so let's try and go lower. Day one, day two, day three. Lower low on the day, breakout, pull back, follow through. Timing, a little rough. But that's the template. This is the reoccurring template that shows up over and over. That I was talking about yesterday is very reliable. Especially whenever you get the lower low on the day or a breakout pullback like this. Nice. I know we're looking at it in hindsight. It's not helping us at all with the current move, but this exact pattern is going to show up again. And it'll show up on at least one pair next week, and probably another pair the week after that, and then so forth. All right, go back over here. What did I have up there? Gold? Yeah. Not interesting. Oh, wait, not interested in a double bottom on DJ30. No. So, again, it's what happened yesterday in order for me to look for something to happen today. We had a breakout close, so we could be looking for breakout pullback, trend continuation to the upside. Yes, that can be a setup, 1,000%. We've even triggered the high in London. London triggers the high. New York pulls back and is the trade, maybe. But we've broken down and started making lower lows and lower highs. So it's outside of my criteria. NQ just keeps pulling up, putting in higher lows. I think we're almost already back at the high of the day. Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm a little interested in gold, but only because we're so far away from levels. So, like, if I were to take this short, I could say, well, the low of the day, we've broken down, we've made lower lows. Yeah, it's an up moving market, but we could be going back for the money at the breakout. And the low of the day is relatively far away. You know, so I might be able to develop a thesis on this and actually be able to execute because of those factors. What I'm not going to do is even think about entering until a 5-minute bar closes a little bit lower. Because we've broken down now and immediately gone back into consolidation, which is good. You know, we've broken down, we've broken out. Now we're going sideways. But I want to try and get in. If I'm going to get in, I would like to get in right at the point of expansion. Right when it's about to explode. I don't want to have to sit through, like yesterday I had to sit through a pullback because I can't predict the future. I don't know. And that's going to happen. You know, I can get in and then it pulls back and it's unfortunate. But if I can do my best to really try and get in right before the explosion, those are usually the best trades. Least amount of heat. Got some of y'all chit-chatting about. I like to see it. Seems like everyone's kind of like working together in the chat. It's cool. It's good to see. A lot of people on Discord, I think they've been constantly trying to get together to trade together and things like that. And it looks like a lot of them kind of fall through or fail over time. So it's nice to be able to do these streams and everybody, like we can all meet up in one place and just hang out. It's good. Real good. Beats. So he asked, do you ever pay attention to technical analysis, drawings, support resistance, channels, chart patterns? I pay attention to market structure. The three things markets do, which is hardly technical analysis. It's literally just, did we close on the outside of a previous day's level or did it fail to go higher or lower? And then on the day, you know, when I'm looking to actually physically enter into into a trade, like they've broken, for example, right now, they made a lower low. What chart pattern is forming in order for me to get in once they complete the pattern? Yeah, no, it's fine, Beats. I don't mind at all. It would be stupid for me to just sit here and watch candles bob up and down without providing any value. What would even be the point? Yep, Fibro. some kind of 3 attempt pattern. It attempts to go higher 3 times, tries to go lower 3 times. But one of those bars will complete the pattern, and I'll say, hey, that's the one that has completed ascending, descending, ascending triangle, descending triangle. Sometimes it'll be like a rising or falling wedge. That's usually those really common 3 push patterns that are like a little bit jagged. They'll be like boom, boom, boom. In reality, all that is a wedge top. Triple tops, triple bottoms, head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. I'm looking for micro patterns most of the time when I look for head and shoulders, though. You'll see the micro versions of them all over the place. This is one right here. Down bar and up bar, left shoulder, head, explosion, right shoulder, neckline. On a lower time frame, that's a head and shoulders. So I look for little things like that, but I try not to overcomplicate it. It's about as complicated as looking for road signs when you're driving. Maybe not as objective. I ran out of water. Yikes. How often do you view 1 hour daily time frame? I would say very briefly, and only if I need a little bit more insight into what it's been doing. Big picture. 1 hour, if I see that the hour is about to end, I'll go and pop into the 1 hour chart. Tony. But I mean, you all are watching the same thing that I'm watching right now. I'm on a 5-minute chart. I started on the 15, now I go down to the 5, and I mainly stay on the 5-minute chart the entire session. I'll try to, get away from tunnel vision. I'll pop around and just kind of look and see what the big picture's looking like. But yeah, for the most part, I just stick on the 5. Okay, NQ, higher high. Keeps on dragging higher and higher and higher, putting in higher lows and going. So I'm thinking that is probably not going to be for me. In fact, I have a feeling that on a higher time frame, I don't know if it does. This could be a giant W. If this violently explodes up through here, is it like a 4-hour W or something? Maybe, I don't know. High probability moves that they could be, I could honestly hold a lot of them for a lot more. And I've been trying to. I've been trying to hold them for longer. By longer, I mean more than 5 minutes, 15 minutes, if it's moving really well. Put some less, what's the word I'm looking for? Because I'm very okay with it moves 50 points and I just get out. Or 25 points or whatever. I've been trying to hold for a bit more, like 100 points, things like that. But only when the chart tells me to. I'm not just doing it because I want to. Okay, so we've got a 1-bar range. They've came back down in a 1, 2, 3. If you look at a 1 minute, things are a little choppy. Every time it makes the new low, it pulls back immediately. Which is down, it's a channel, essentially, right? This is just a bear channel. Tony, I used to, but now I really don't. As long as number go up, that's all that matters. Now, number go up. Try to keep number from going down. I'm on a so I'm not on a futures pair right now. Beats. I'm on a Wanda. So pips, right? If I take current price and I move this up 50, okay, and you can do the same thing on a futures chart. Drag it up, it will say 50. That's 50 points, and then you'll see how many ticks that represents over on the right. How many? Sometimes I take one every day, Chris. Lately, these past few weeks, I'm lucky to find one or two all week. Let's see. Mostly today we wait for first red or first green. Yep, exactly. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. And that is true. Maybe the NASDAQ turns into a first green today. Try to go lower. If we close back up over here. Oh my goodness, what did I just say? Basically, a breakout would have failed over the course of 2 days. We'd have a reset, trap volume, peak formation low. What does that actually mean for us? That would just mean that if we get a first green, we could look for first green opportunities to go back towards the high of the week. Maybe. Or day zero, yeah. It could be. Yeah, exactly. It could be. We could be, yeah. I mean, if we're talking about peak formation high from Monday, probably not the type that I would normally look for. But is this a box of volume? Yeah, same concept. Oh, yeah. Hey, this is a common thing. Where they drop a pin and then they hold all the bars in the middle of that pin, basically creating a range. And then once we get down here, notice how they're kind of working. They are really working the shorts, getting people emotional. Okay, gold. 1, 2, 3 down. Strong up close bar. Actually, it's really not that strong because it didn't even break out of the previous bar's high, but it closed at its highs, which is exactly what I was worried about. That's why I was showing you the choppy, how it's chopping. Every time it makes a new low, it pulls back. It's been chopping, keeping me from getting in. Do I ever hold trades overnight? No. Over the weekend? Absolutely not. My average time in a trade is 5 minutes to 15. If I hold something for an hour, fairly uncommon. Yeah, my trading day is 8 a.m. to 11. That's it. But I only like trading after 9:30. So if there's setups that show up before 9:30, then I mean that's valuable information too, because then you can say, well, the setup already happened. So it's kind of like process of elimination, right? It's like, well, if it already happened, then the probability of success in the afternoon or now after 9:30 is a lot lower. Whereas you trade only after 9:30 and you look at the market and you say, well, it hasn't happened yet, so there's still a chance. So I should stick around. As a scalper, yeah, I'd say so. I've seen more aggressive, more aggressive scalps though, where people, they're tick scalping and they'll take 50 trades or 100 trades in a day. So it's a little bit different type of scalping, but yes. Also, I think most scalpers, they're only looking for, like a 5 or a 10 point move. I would never take a trade if I saw that it was only going to go 5 or 10 points. So I think in the scalp category, but probably a certain type of scalper that is, I wouldn't go as far to say like intraday swing trader, but I am looking for the larger move for the day. But you hold if you expect a range. Yes, I try to hold if there's a, and I've actually narrowed it down a bit more lately. I've been doing it this way now for a little over a month, couple of months, and I'll do like if I target the low of the day. So if a trade's coming off of the high of the day, for example, and we're hovering above the low of the day, and I'm trying to get back down there. I used to just take profits at the low of the day, but something that I found was every time I do that, it would even if it just did like this, right? Oh gosh. Like it's very uncommon for it to just touch and then go. So I noticed that I kept on giving up 25 to 50 points every single time I would just target the low of the day or the high of the day. So what I started doing was I started taking profits not at the low of the day, but I measure out now 25 to 50 points outside of the low of the day or the high of the day, and that's where I put my take profit. So if I don't hold for a full expansion of the range, I can at least get an additional 25 to 50 points, which is phenomenal. The average move outside of a range is 25 to 50 or 50 pips, so it's like probability is kind of on your side, and also you can maximize profits that way, while it's still being a good high probability trade. Now, one thing I will do, and I get stopped out a lot for doing this, is if they wick down to and then it doesn't follow through, I'll bring my stops down really tight. Because I don't want them to wick into the low and then go back up and stop me out for a full loss. That's ridiculous. Or even break even. I want to get something out of it. But yeah. So like you get in and then it immediately just, before you can even put anything in, it runs the other way. It probably has happened, but I can't think of a specific instance right now, like when that's happened. But I have been slipped. Like I had the position in place. I got slipped the other day. I think I got slipped. Oh, actually, you know what? It wasn't with you all. It was with the webinar group. And it was one of the only trades that I took. And I think it was last week on the NASDAQ. I was at break even plus. I was at break even plus a few points. And I was up. I was up, a lot. And then it wicked, which was fine. I had my stops at break even. And then the next bar formed and it opened and then it gapped. It basically gapped through I got slipped. Not a lot, thankfully, but it was kind of annoying to go from being up that much to getting slipped into negative. It was a little tilting, but I caught it immediately that I was annoyed, so that was good. Yeah, I think that was one of the only trades last week that I put a lot of size on. And then it slipped me. So that's why I was like a little... I've been waiting all this time. This is the right trade. Things are going great. Those are those emotions you gotta deal with. Yeah, I still have... So February, if I see a trade and it's only... Like, it's come off the high of the day, and we're just hovering above, like, low of day. I'm considering that a scalp low of day, or from high of day to low of day trade. And I didn't get in at the high of the day, so the risk to reward is not as high. I'm going to count that as a 1, all in, all out. If I get in at the high or the low of the day, and I'm taking it back to the low of the day or the high of the day, and I'm getting in either at the high or at the low, risk to rewards more, I'll be willing to add in more, so it's a higher rating. And I can pretty much apply that to any trade, any signal. If yesterday was first red day, and I was able to get in at the high of the day, and the low of the day is really far, I might upgrade it to like a 3 or 5, depending on how far away. If it was 3 days of breakouts, I'm at the high of the week and the lower low has been formed and everything's perfect, and I'm getting in at the high of the day, I'll upgrade. No, not 3 or 5 lots, but stars. So if the stars, of course, indicating the amount of risk that I'm willing to put on it. Hold on. I don't know where it is. I'd have to find it. I'll come maybe tomorrow's stream. I'll pull up my my risk management plan, my trade management plan. Okay, US 30. This is what I was talking about. They put these wicks down and then they work them. Push 1 and 2 and a third down into the wick, really working the shorts and engulfment. Keeping us out of the stupidity, keeping us out of the mess. I'll take that. That's a win. Not chasing price off the open, not chasing the follow through on the continuation, realizing and understanding that we're in breakout going higher. The overall market, we're still on the front side of a move. Like maybe it's just not the best to be aggressive here. NQ was looking for a short. They triggered the previous day's low and popped it back up. Recognizing and realizing that they've made a higher high. Only one side of the market is in control right now. And yes, it could go back down, but there's no evidence of that, so I need to stay out. Gold, still watching at the lower low, but it kind of seems like maybe they're working the low as well. All right, I'm extremely hydrated. We've got probably another 20 or so minutes of the stream, so I'm gonna go dehydrate real quick, and I'm coming right back. Oh, can you hear me now though, right? Nice. But yeah, I was saying that oil, I don't know why it pushed down so hard. I can't remember what news event that was, but I've just been sitting on the inside of a range. Yeah, we got oil inventories 10:30, which was 4 minutes ago. Oh, is that the gap down you're talking about? Gotcha. Gotcha. This might be another day of sitting on my hands. Yeah, Beats, I wouldn't mind. You know, if this continues to break down, I wouldn't mind. Lower gas prices. Thanks. I guess we'll have to see though. Wow. We might be getting some decent signals today. Template's evolving. Gold is making me feel even more like we're just oscillating around the close. Because here we go again. We start to break down. Are we just going to hold it in between this high and low for the entire session? I don't know. That's what it's feeling like, though. It's feeling like, hey, Cam, don't take this because it's weird time of day and it's just the wrong time and wrong pattern. Something really extreme would have to happen, I think. Some kind of really obvious gotcha, like a gotcha moment. Also, in thinking about how things are looking, once again, we've got breakout. So, like, for example, today's is Wednesday. We've got the rest of the week, but really just tomorrow because of holiday. But we got a breakout. We've got a sideways consolidation, which means that tomorrow, we could be looking at maybe expansions of the box or failed breakouts of the box coming off the high of the week. So this could be setting us up well for tomorrow, which I wouldn't be upset about. Hey, take it easy, Paulie. I'm almost done. I think that big takeaways from today are going to be was definitely patience, knowing what I'm looking for, structural breaks, but the timing and the pattern have not aligned. But I think it is somewhat clear that we could be setting a few of these instruments up for tomorrow. Maybe for the afternoon. I don't know. But right now, I do not have any setup. And I think that me waiting is not going to change that. So I'm going to end here and hopefully come back tomorrow with a better, some better templates, or the template has continued to set up and is a little bit better. What's the rationale for not taking? I don't even look at the charts outside. Like right now, beats, I'm about to turn off my computer and go work out. And I won't look at the charts again until tomorrow morning. Yeah, let's do it. I agree. All right, ladies and gentlemen, great stream. Great talking to you all. See you all tomorrow. Same time, 9:15. Ready to go, ready to trade. Finish off the week strong. And, yeah. You'll have a good one. Close out of this bad boy. See you all tomorrow.